The Ministry and the Department of Agriculture launched the CARICOM 25 by 2025 Food Initiative in a 27th July presentation attended by farmers and interested persons. Recently, CARICOM heads of government made a commitment to reduce the large food import bill by 25% by the year 2025 in member states. The implementation of the CARICOM agri-food system strategy is expected to help achieve this target by giving special attention to priority crops and products such as poultry, corn, soya, meat, rice, and niche vegetables, which are highly imported products in the region. The session was addressed by St. Kitts' Minister of Agriculture, Samuel Duggins, and Nevis' Minister of Agriculture, Eric Evelyn. With over $190 million spent on food imports to the Federation, Minister Duggins believes the islands can reach the target.
And if we do a simple mathematical equation, we recognize that 25% of that is somewhere near $50 million. And the essence of what we are here discussing today is how we can share $50 million amongst all of you. But of course, that $50 million is not just cash in hand. It requires your work, your effort, and your dedication. But ultimately, with that, there's a guaranteed $50 million that's being spent annually that should go and be shared amongst all. My job here as the Minister of Agriculture is to ensure that that $50 million is going to you. But how do we do that? We must ensure that our people have the competence. We can do it because we have some of the most innovative, some of the most intelligent, and some of the most hardworking people here in St. Kitts and Nevis. And this time, we have to take a different approach. We have to do things a little bit differently. We have to embrace innovation. We have to embrace the way forward. We have to harness the collective knowledge of our stakeholders on the ground, our stakeholders in the region, and our stakeholders internationally. We must do everything that we can to ensure that we bring all the resources, all the knowledge, all of the will, all the support, and centralize it, focus it, because $200 million is not impossible to achieve. We need
when it comes to quality. And so make no bones about it, our local products in St. Kitts and Nevis are better than the imported ones. I'm also here to endorse and support this initiative because as a government, as a federal government, and as a Nevis Island administration, we must continue to support our local entrepreneurs, whether it's the farmers, whether it's the fishers, whether it's the agro-processors, and committing to this 25 by 25 initiative can only grow our local entrepreneurs. Because of the fact that we need to produce more, our local entrepreneurs must rise to the challenge. They must ensure, the onus is on them to ensure that we here in St. Kitts and Nevis produce more, which we have the capacity and the potential for.
According to Minister Duggins, there is a real possibility to exceed the target by working together. Glenn Bart reporting for Skn Newsline.
Data collection is critically important to St. Kitts and Nevis as it helps to provide a solid foundation for informed decision-making, among others, says Minister of Sustainable Development, Constituency Empowerment, Environment and Climate Action, Dr. Joy L. Clark, while speaking on the July 26 edition of In Focus.
I need to stress again how critical data collection is for St. Kitts and Nevis, right? Decision making has to be informed by data. The only way you can collect data is to be out in the field. You saw the census exercise that as a minister I walked into on the latter phase of the data collection process and collation. But as well as collecting data, there is a need to collate data and share data and have data stored in a virtual data bank or space that's accessible by all ministries, or a platform where all ministries based on their data collection can share information. And that's part of the commitment that the Honorable Minister of Technology can speak to when he joins us, that there is a need for us to really look at all the information that we already have and make it shareable and usable and digestible. So sometimes it's not that we do not have the data, but we're not sharing the data.
Dr. Clark said an important feature of collecting data is making it available for use.
Additionally, if we don't know what's happening in St. Kitts and Nevis, we cannot determine what policies would best serve our population. And Oren's example of the youth voice was clear, that we would have been going to a VNR, present a VNR without the real voice of the youth. And that session in and of itself was an opportunity for collecting very rich data about what our young people feel is the best pathway for them as future citizens of St. Kitts and Nevis. So that's why I need to stress the importance of data collection. Now, the Department of Statistics does not just collect census data, there's agricultural data, tourism data. So we collaborate with various ministries, and it's this data that really informs our budgeting process, the policy development for the cabinet and the respective ministries. So I'm using this opportunity to say, everything that you do, you must collect data. It's the same thing that's happening with the Department of Constituency Empowerment, which is newly operationalized again, and their entire work profile for the past 5 months has been data collection.
The minister said that data is a critical input into policy as it helps the government make informed and evidence-based decisions. I'm Andre Huey for Skn Newsline.
It's beautiful. He took one look at you and the angels started singing.
Another wonderful day.
What would you say about staying here for a few months or like a year, just so that we can be together again and just live and love and laugh and have fun and breathe?
Why are you hiding out on a little Caribbean island, singing in a beach bar?
When I came here, I was at peace, and I never left.
This is the beating heart of Nevis. This is what grounds me, what feeds my soul. It's where I found myself.
I hope your life here will be full of joy. Love this island, my son. She will give you more than you can imagine.
Want to buy some fresh fruits, vegetables, or ground provision, but don't have the time to go to the market or even to find parking? Look no further. Green Market and Delivery is your solution. Green Market and Delivery is an e-commerce store that sells and delivers local produce to customers in St. Kitts and Nevis. Anything you purchase, you can get fresh from the market and delivered directly to your door. Log on to www.greenmarketskn.com. Click on the e-store link, choose your items, and shop away. We have a wide array of products from fruits, vegetables, local products, spices and seasonings, and much more. Save time and energy. Shop on greenmarketskn.com, your one-stop shop for fresh local produce.
Online radio has never been this great. It's Voice of the Caribbean Radio at voiceofthecaribbean.net. Tune into Voice of the Caribbean Radio for great Caribbean programs, news, entertainment, sports, and current affairs. Wake up each morning and be inspired with One Day at a Time with Kim Huey. Stay abreast with news across the Caribbean and internationally with the Caribbean News Hour, and be entertained with shows like Reggaeville, Caribbean Classics, and Jive Music Show. Visit our website, download our Android mobile app, or listen us on TuneIn Radio. There is so much more on Voice of the Caribbean Radio. reaching the Caribbean and beyond. Check website or app for program schedule.
The Skn Newsline website now offers you more news. Log on to www.sknnewsline.com for local, regional, and international news. You can also watch the latest newscast and keep abreast with news in sports, all from sknnewsline.com. That's www.sknnewsline.com. News at your fingertips.
The police have successfully identified, with general public's assistance, the 3 persons responsible for multiple incidences of malicious damage to passing vehicles on the F.T. Williams Highway on St. Kitts. The 3 males, all juveniles, were brought to the Bastille Police Station by their respective guardians on July 26th and 27th, respectively. There, they were each apprehended and interviewed in the presence of their guardians, according to a police press release. Following the said interviews, each male was released into the custody of his guardian. Their cases will be heard at a later date by the Child Justice Board. The Royal St. Christopher Nevis Police Force said it extends the deepest gratitude to the general public for the assistance that aided in this matter's timely resolution. I'm Andre Huey for Skn Newsline.
Continuing the engagement with Caribbean Airlines, the St. Kitts Tourism Authority continued its series of meetings aimed at creating more buzz for the Federation. In this case, the St. Kitts Tourism Authority hosted 30 travel agents from Port of Spain, Trinidad, allowing them to know and understand St. Kitts and Nevis as a destination. According to information released by the Tourism Authority officials made several presentations to the agents, who were invited to venture deeper into the heart and soul of St. Kitts, exploring culinary delights, amazing products, and the island's rich historical heritage. 2 lucky agents won a trip for 2 to the island, including hotel accommodations. The sessions were part of the promotions for Caribbean Airlines' flight from Trinidad to St. Kitts via Antigua and Barbados. Representatives from the Trinidad Tourism Board were also in the Federation. Glenn Bart reporting for Skn Newsline.
It's beautiful. He took one look at you and the angels started singing.
Another wonderful day.
What would you say about staying here for a few months or like a year, just so that we can be together again and just live and love and laugh and have fun and breathe?
Why are you hiding out on a little Caribbean island, singing in a beach bar?
When I came here, I was at peace, and I never left.
This is the beating heart of Nevis. This is what grounds me, what feeds my soul. It's where I found myself.
I hope your life here will be full of joy. Love this island, my son. She will give you more than you can imagine.
Want to buy some fresh fruits, vegetables, or ground provision, but don't have the time to go to the market or even to find parking? Look no further. Green Market and Delivery is your solution. Green Market and Delivery is an e-commerce store that sells and delivers local produce to customers in St. Kitts and Nevis. Anything you purchase, you can get fresh from the market and delivered directly to your door. Log on to www.greenmarketskn.com. Click on the e-store link, choose your items, and shop away. We have a wide array of products from fruits, vegetables, local products, spices and seasonings, and much more. Save time and energy. Shop on greenmarketskn.com, your one-stop shop for fresh local produce.
Online radio has never been this great. It's Voice of the Caribbean Radio at voiceofthecaribbean.net. Tune into Voice of the Caribbean Radio for great Caribbean programs, news, entertainment, sports, and current affairs. Wake up each morning and be inspired with One Day at a Time with Kim Huey. Stay abreast with news across the Caribbean and internationally with the Caribbean News Hour, and be entertained with shows like Reggaeville, Caribbean Classics, and Jive Music Show. Visit our website, download our Android mobile app, or listen us on TuneIn Radio. There is so much more on Voice of the Caribbean Radio, reaching the Caribbean and beyond. Check website or app for program schedule.
The SKN Newsline website now offers you more news. Log on to www.sknnewsline.com for local, regional, and international news. You can also watch the latest newscast and keep abreast with news in sports, all from sknnewsline.com. That's www.sknnewsline.com. News at your fingertips.
Prime Minister and Minister for National Security Deacon Mitchell is looking at ways to alleviate the issue of gun violence, which has become an increasing concern within the Caribbean region. In comparison to our island neighbors, Grenada has not recorded alarming numbers of incidents involving gun violence. However, there has been a noticeable increase in the confiscation of illegal firearms. Prime Minister Mitchell said last week members of the Royal Grenada Police Force have interdicted 31 illegal firearms so far this year compared to the 16 for the corresponding period last year. He elaborated on how the use of guns has impacted Grenada.
Guns are lethal and they're made to kill. That's the only purpose for having a gun. So even if it's sport rifles, it's meant to kill the animal or whatever it is you're shooting at. And so from a culture perspective, first and foremost, and from a society perspective, as I've said, the government's policy is that we will have zero tolerance for firearms. And that would influence everything we do. Starting with licensed firearms, you need to demonstrate that you actually do have a real need for a licensed firearm.
Prime Minister Mitchell said border protection services are critical at all ports of entry to ensure that illegal firearms are not brought into the country.
From a border perspective, in the context of Grenada, as I've said, the Port Authority in particular, or Airport Authority, we have to ensure that we give them the necessary equipment that will allow for the screening of all cargo. Now, this is expensive and it will take some time. Second aspect, as I said, is beefing up our capacity via the Coast Guard to patrol our borders. Because as you're aware, there's P.T. Martinique, there's Carriacou, there's the Grenadines, there's Trinidad to our south. And to the south of Trinidad is Venezuela.
A gun amnesty, he says, has come up in conversation with the police force.
Policy level, we've had some discussions as to whether a gun amnesty would make sense. We have not resolved that issue. It is something we are still considering in conjunction with the Royal Grenada Police Force. But again, you need to actually have data that these things will work. There's no point in having it if it will not work. I will indicate that at a policy level, though, the intention would be to amend the Firearms Act to have far stiffer penalties for persons found in possession or the trafficking of illegal firearms. So that's one policy issue that we intend.
Prime Minister Deacon Mitchell has acknowledged that Grenada is threatened by illegal imports of arms and ammunition. His government will take a zero-tolerance approach to firearms in the community. If convicted as an indictable offense, that person shall be subject to a fine of not less than $20,000 or not more than $60,000, and to imprisonment for not less than 5 and not more than 20 years. Reporting for GBN News, Beverly Telesford.
Also tonight, a Cuban exile activist known for protests at sea against the Cuban regime is facing the possibility of deportation.
Ramon Saul Sanchez has lived in the U.S. for more than half a century. Today, he spoke to CBS News Miami about why the U.S. would want him out.
Yvonne Taylor joins us live from downtown Miami with the story. Yvonne.
Well, what Ramon Saul Sanchez has done for a free Cuba from South Florida is now seemingly used against him. And Elliot and Lauren, you would ask, why are we here with the story? Because his destiny will be decided at this immigration court next week.
In a few days, I'm going to be facing a deportation.
At 68 years of age, renowned Cuban activist Ramon Saul Sanchez is facing the biggest challenge of his life.
The government alleges that I am a terrorist.
Sanchez, director of Democracy Movement and also known for the flotillas, a fleet of vessels that traveled to international waters close to Cuba for years, commemorating the deaths of rafters. He said in a 17-page document, immigration officials listed the reasons of his removal from the United States.
They allege that the flotillas disrupt the international relations because they are irresponsible events that I entice people to go to these crazy events. Those are memorial flotillas.
Today, Cuban exiles of at least 5 organizations in Little Havana not only established their support for Sanchez, but also why he should not be deported.
It would be very convenient for that regime at this moment to put Ramon Saul Sanchez on trial. Every Cuban is Ramon Saul Sanchez because it is a right of our expression.
If you've been in this country for 56 years, how come you did not become a U.S. resident?
I have been 21 years trying to be a U.S. resident, and they have denying it.
He was granted refugee status when he came in. So he came in as a refugee.
Willie Allen has been Sanchez's immigration attorney for over 25 years. He says in 1998, a deportation order against his client was canceled, but
there was an agreement that every year, under his pending application for residency, he would receive his work permit.
According to Allen, that changed under the Trump administration when they scheduled Ramon Saul for an interview.
But as a result of that interview, he was charged by USCIS with being a terrorist.
Do you actually think he could be deported?
I have a high level of confidence that he will not be deported.
So on July 27th, Ramon Saul Sanchez will request asylum protection and U.S. residency. We will be here at this immigration court following the case. In downtown Miami, Ivan Taylor, CBS News, Miami.
Ivan, thank you.
And buildings were set on fire in Niger's capital, Niamey, on Thursday, after hundreds of supporters of a coup gathered in front of the ruling party headquarters. Young men looted motorbikes, chairs, and other supplies from the building. Other demonstrators waved Russian flags and chanted anti-French slogans, echoing a growing wave of resentment towards former colonial power France and its influence in the Sahel region. The demonstrations came as Niger's army command declared support for the coup, carried out the previous day by soldiers of the Presidential Guard. Army Colonel Amadou Abdraman announced on state television that all political party activities have been suspended. A group of soldiers announced in a late-night televised address that they stripped President Mohamed Bazoum of power. Juntas in neighboring Mali and Burkina Faso have grown closer to Russia since they took charge in 2020 and 2022 respectively. They cut ties with traditional Western allies. Niger's role had become increasingly important for Western powers, helping fight a violent insurgency in the region. In a social media posting on Thursday morning, Bazoum vowed to protect hard-won democratic gains. In separate comments on Thursday, the head of African Union Azali Assoumani condemned the coup and called for Bazoum's release.
In London tonight, actor Kevin Spacey acquitted on sexual assault charges brought by 4 men. Spacey in tears as the verdict was read. Lama San now in London.
Tonight, a major win for Kevin Spacey, the actor walking out of a London courtroom after a jury found him not guilty of sexual assault.
There's a lot for me to process. I'm enormously grateful to the jury for having taken the time to examine all of the evidence and all of the facts carefully before they reach their decision. And I am humbled by the outcome today.
Spacey cried as the verdict was read, mouthing thank you to the jury as they cleared him of 9 charges involving 4 men, while Spacey was artistic director at London's Old Vic Theatre. Prosecutors argued Spacey was a sexual bully who used his fame and power to prey on younger men. Spacey's lawyers hit back, saying the men lied and were motivated by money.
Of all the things I hold in high regard, rules are not one of them.
The 2-time Oscar winner was let go from his hit series House of Cards after allegations surfaced. Spacey told the court his world exploded. I lost my job. I lost my reputation. I lost everything in a matter of days. David, today's acquittal comes on Kevin Spacey's 64th birthday, and it's just the latest legal victory involving sexual assault allegations. Spacey has said that he plans to return to acting and that there were people ready to hire him the moment he was cleared of the charges in London. David.
Lama Hassan.
The Caribbean's greatest footballing rivalry resumed once again, this time at the under-15 level at the Manny Ramjan Stadium in Marabella. And Riquelme Phillips added his name to those who have scored in the derby, taking advantage of a mistake by the Jamaican goalkeeper in the 11th minute to send the ball in at the near post. The young Reggae boys almost found a way back into the game, but the Junior Warriors' defense was up to the task. Looking to extend their lead, the young Warriors saw a team effort saved. Jamaica's under-15s thought they had themselves an equalizer, only for the goal to be ruled out. 1-0 Trinidad and Tobago at the half. At the restart, Trinidad and Tobago were awarded a penalty for the foul on captain Caden Trestriel. Taking the kick himself, Trestriel saw his effort kept out. The Junior Warriors were enjoying the better of the exchanges and were denied by the combination of the Jamaican goalkeeper and his defender. Jamaica's under-15s would find a way back into the game with 16 minutes left on the clock. The perfect cross into the box was finished off by Deshaun Byfield. Soon after the Warriors had a chance for the win, the shot deflected wide. At full-time, both teams were even at 1 as they continued preparations for the CONCACAF Boys Under-15 tournament in the Dominican Republic in August. Kent Fuentes, TTT Sports.